Once upon a time, in a remote village in India, lived a poor man whose name was Ramu. He lived under a tree and he was poor by choice. His dreams were big, but his efforts were small. He dreamt about becoming a rich man someday. However, did close to nothing to realize his dreams. All day under the tree, watching the sun go up and down. His daily routine, though, was to wait for the afternoon sun to reach its zenith and head over from house to house begging for alms. Fortunately for him, he lived in a friendly village. People were sharing and giving. They were happy to share with him all of their leftovers. He was, of course, happy to bring them back to his tree and eat to his heart's content. One day, turned out to be this big festival in village. As it happens on any festival day, there's a lot of festive food. And he was so happy to make his rounds that day. As he expected, he received a lot of food from all of the villagers and more than he could consume. So he had a plan. He packaged them nicely and put them all in a clay pot and hung the pot up on a low tree branch and decided to take a nap. It was food-induced sleep, by the way, so he definitely fell into deep sleep very quickly. He started dreaming. In his dream, he saw that a sudden famine hit the village. Nobody had any food. They were all starving. But not him. He had his stash right there. He was very happy. All of a sudden, he saw all those villagers come running to him. And then a child says, "I'll give you 5 rupees for your food." And then a man comes up to him and says, "I'll give you 10 rupees for your food." A lady comes over and says, "I'll give you 15 rupees for your food." This is when Ramu saw his chance, his opportunity. He knew he could make a lot more money with that food. And he announced in a loud voice, "I'll give my food to the person who gives me 20 rupees. There was a buyer. 20 rupees at the time was big money. So he took those 20 rupees and he went over to the fair and he bought 2 goats. 1 female and 1 male. A doe and a buck. Now the doe would give him a lot of milk and he would make curd and butter with it. He would also mate the 2 and he would soon have a lot of baby goats, bucklings and doelings, and more milk, more butter, more curd, more money. He made money by selling all of this dairy to all of the villagers. Pretty soon he got bored with raising goats. He had had enough of them. He decided to sell all his goats and buy cows. He sold all his goats for 100 rupees and got 2 cows. 1 male, 1 female, a cow and a bull. He did the same thing. The cow would give him a lot of milk and he would make butter and curd with it. And he would make them and he would have a lot of calves which in turn would become cows. And he would get more milk, more butter, more curd, more money by selling them, right? After a while, he got tired of the cows. Now he's had enough of the cows as well. Now he decided to sell these cows and he would get 1,000 rupees now. With 1,000 rupees, he would buy 2 horses. This was his pattern, 1 male, 1 female. He wouldn't get any dairy with horses, but his plan was to make them race horses. He would make them and make more horses, and he would sell them all for 10,000 rupees. He would become a rich man. Pretty soon, everybody from far and near would hear about him and want to be his friend. There was one rich man in a neighboring village who took it a step further. He wanted him to marry his beautiful daughter. He would refuse at first. He wasn't into marrying that girl because he asked. But then one look at her, he would fall for her and he would decide to marry her. Pretty soon they'll have 2 boys. Not male, female, 2 boys. These boys were very smart. Of course, very handsome, because he had a beautiful wife and he was very handsome. His children would be handsome. However, they were also very naughty. They would go around, run around the village, vandalizing property. And very soon, all the villagers will come running to him and complain to him. Now, at that time, he would have had enough. He needed to discipline those boys. He would pick up a big stick and start spanking them back and forth. These boys would be so upset, they would start crying. He would tell them, "You can cry me a river, but I'm not forgiving you." Which is when he woke up from his dream. He realized that all of this was one big dream. There were no boys, no wife, no rich friends, no horses, no cows, no goats. Worst of all, there was no food. Because he had been flailing his arms and legs in his sleep, then he had kicked that pot over and all of the food was dripping on his face. That's the day he learned a valuable lesson. Don't build castles in the air. Back to you, Toastmaster.